Hello again, and welcome back to The Sleepy Physicist. It's always such a comfort to have you here. Maybe you've been here before, drifting through the cosmos with me, or maybe this is your very first night joining our quiet journey through space and time. Either way, you've found a soft corner of the universe where science speaks in whispers, not shouts. So settle in. Let your breathing match the slow rhythm of the dark. Let your thoughts stretch out into the vastness. Tonight, we're going back before everything began, before light, before sound, before even time had the courage to move. If you enjoy these calm explorations, you can gently tap the like button. It really helps more sleepy minds find their way here. And if you'd like to go even deeper into these cosmic dreams, you can join the channel membership or send a super thanks, small sparks of support that keep this space glowing quietly for everyone. Now close your eyes and let's drift back into the silence that once filled everything. You begin by imagining nothing, not empty space, not darkness, but truly nothing. A nothing so complete that even the concept of nothingness hasn't been invented yet. There is no up or down, no far away or close, no ticking clock to measure how long this stillness lasts. Because time, too, is asleep. And in that absence, something waits. You might picture it as a seed resting beneath soil that doesn't yet exist, or as a deep inhalation that has not yet become a breath. This was not a place. It was potential. A momentless, formless ocean of possibility. So still that even silence feels too loud a word. You float there now, within that endless waiting. Your mind tries to imagine edges, but there are none. Your body tries to orient itself, but there is no somewhere to turn toward. It feels both claustrophobic and infinite, a paradox the human mind cannot fully hold. Yet somehow, this quiet nothing is full of everything that will ever be. Every atom, every star, every dream, every heartbeat, all resting in perfect balance before their story begins. In physics, this moment is what lies just beyond the reach of our equations. We call it the singularity, though that word sounds far too sharp for something so gentle. A singularity is the limit where our understanding breaks, where the known laws of nature fold back into mystery. It's not a point in space, because space itself isn't real yet. It's not a moment in time, because time has not begun to count. It's a frontier of pure potential, a universe curled tightly upon itself, smaller than any thought you can think. Imagine every galaxy, every atom, every whisper of light that will ever exist, compressed into something that has no size at all. That is where you stand, or rather where you drift, as the great stillness holds its breath. Inside this unborn universe, energy slumbers like an idea waiting to be spoken. It's not yet moving, not yet vibrating, not yet reaching outward. But deep within that potential, a question begins to form. Not in words, not in sound, but as a shift, a tension, a readiness. You can almost feel it, the faint ache of something yearning to be. Maybe it's easiest to imagine this as a single note waiting for its song. The air is still, the musician poised, the bow hovering above the string. And then, in the smallest instant imaginable, smaller than the smallest fraction of a second, everything changes. Not with a bang, not with an explosion, but with expansion. Space itself begins to stretch. You can think of it as a balloon inflating, but not into anything. The balloon is space, and it's growing from within, everywhere, all at once. In that first unimaginable flicker, temperature soars beyond comprehension. Energy condenses, particles appear, vanish, and appear again. The laws of physics, those quiet rules that now govern everything, begin to take form like ice crystallizing on a cold window pane. They will decide how light bends, how gravity pulls, how matter clings together. And though it all happens faster than thought, it's gentle in its intention. The universe isn't in a rush, it's unfolding, like the slow bloom of a flower, only one made of time and space. You imagine yourself within that unfolding, surrounded by light too dense to see, energy too concentrated to describe. There is no sky, no horizon, only a sea of brightness pressing outward. If you could open your eyes here, they would see nothing but radiance, the first glow of existence. And then, as expansion continues, the brightness softens. The universe begins to cool, to breathe. The first fractions of seconds pass, the beginning of time's flow. And that's when silence, for the very first time, gives way to motion. From your quiet spot in bed, you might feel a strange kinship with this moment. You too began in stillness. Before your first breath, before your first thought, there was a pause, a waiting. The universe in its infancy was not so different from a mind just before waking. Still, calm, full of potential. Every breath you take now echoes that same rhythm, the inhale of stillness, the exhale of becoming. You are, in a very literal sense, made of that first expansion. The atoms in your blood, the carbon in your breath, the calcium in your bones, all were once energy in that blinding newborn light. You are not observing the Big Bang from afar. You are its continuation, stretched thin into awareness. And when you rest, like now, when you close your eyes and let go of your edges, you return to that same silence before sound, the same deep calm where everything once began. So as you drift here, picture yourself as part of that endless unfolding, the slow exhalation of creation that never truly stopped. Because the Big Bang didn't happen in one place, it happened everywhere. Every grain of dust, every distant star, every corner of your room right now, all of it once existed in the same breath of beginning. Even now, the expansion continues. Space stretches between galaxies, between atoms, between moments of your own thought. The same quiet push that began in that first silence still hums through you. It is the universe's heartbeat, soft, eternal, and vast. And if you listen closely, you can almost hear it. The low hum of creation still expanding, the echo of nothing becoming something, the silence that once was, and somehow still is. You feel the stillness settle again now, gentle and warm. Not emptiness, but peace. A silence that isn't the absence of sound, but the promise of what comes next. Because even in that ancient calm, the universe was preparing to move, preparing to breathe, preparing to glow. And that's where we'll drift next, to the moment when the universe first exhaled light into the darkness, when the quiet became brightness, and the silence before sound turned into the first radiant dawn. You are still floating in the silence. The stillness that once held everything remains around you. But now there is something different. A tension, delicate yet vast. The kind of silence just before a storm, or the moment before a wave begins to rise. The universe is about to take its first breath. Not an explosion, not a detonation that rips through emptiness. There is no emptiness yet. There is only a still field of existence, folded tight upon itself. When it begins to move, it does so everywhere at once, not outward, but inwardly expanding. Like a balloon being inflated, except the balloon is all that exists. There is no outside, no surrounding space into which it grows. The growth is space itself being created. You drift inside that expansion. At first, it's too fast to feel. The universe is stretching at speeds no language can capture. Distances double, then double again, faster than thought. Yet to you, it feels calm, a smooth, rhythmic unfolding, like a single inhale that never ends. This is inflation, a word that sounds so small for something that monumental. In less than a blink of cosmic time, the universe expands from smaller than a proton to something unimaginably vast. But because space itself is growing, nothing inside it is moving through space. Rather, the distance between all points increases. The galaxies that will one day exist are already being set apart by the simple act of space stretching. You imagine standing in an infinite loaf of bread as it bakes. The dough rises, and every raisin drifts away from every other raisin, not because the raisins are traveling, but because the dough between them expands. That's what the universe is doing now, becoming more of itself. The air, if there were any, would shimmer. Energy surges through the newborn cosmos, too intense for atoms, too chaotic for light to move freely. It's a plasma of pure possibility, a fog of energy particles colliding, merging, splitting again. Each encounter gives birth to something new: quarks, electrons, neutrinos, the basic seeds of matter. But they can't rest yet. Everything is too hot, too dense, too alive with energy. Particles form and vanish almost instantly, a dance of creation and destruction that fills the first few moments of time. If you could somehow stand there, though there is no there to stand on, you would see brilliance without color, light without form. You'd be immersed in a radiance that is the same everywhere, all at once. It's a perfect balance of chaos and order, creation and dissolution. And inside that brilliance, the laws of physics awaken. They settle like the soft hum beneath a melody, quiet but unbreakable. Forces separate. Gravity takes its shape, strong and weak. Nuclear forces emerge. Electromagnetism unfurls its invisible threads. The universe, once formless, now has rules to guide its becoming. It's strange to think that everything you know, stars, planets, oceans, thoughts, all come from these first breaths of expansion. The very atoms in your lungs are echoes of this moment. When you breathe now, you are repeating the universe's first act of creation. Every inhale is a memory of inflation, of energy stretching into space. Every exhale, a reflection of that same rhythm, the universe breathing itself wider, calmer, older. There's comfort in that. To know that your smallest act, the breath that keeps you alive, mirrors the very motion that keeps galaxies apart. You are the universe, practicing the same movement that began everything. As expansion slows, the universe cools. For the first time, things begin to linger, particles that don't immediately vanish. They combine into new forms, building blocks that will one day become atoms. Hydrogen and helium start to appear, light and simple, yet powerful in what they promise. They will one day fill stars, shine through space, and form the matter that makes you possible. It's easy to think of the Big Bang as a loud, violent event, but here, in this softness of unfolding, you realize it's more like a long exhale after a held breath, a sigh of energy turning into substance, a stillness transforming into rhythm. You can almost hear it, not a sound, but a pulse, a wave of pressure sweeping through the early universe, vibrating the plasma, giving it texture. These tiny ripples are the first imperfections, the fingerprints of everything that will ever exist. They are small, unimaginably small, but they matter because perfect symmetry cannot create. It is the unevenness, the little pockets of difference that allow structure to form. Galaxies, stars, and eventually life all come from these first gentle irregularities. You float through that infant universe, surrounded by brightness too pure for eyes to see. And slowly you begin to sense rhythm where once there was only motion. The expansion is still immense, but calmer now, more graceful. The once infinite density has become a vast ocean of glowing particles, cooling with every passing moment. Light begins to separate from matter. It starts to travel freely through space, no longer trapped in collisions. This is the first light, the earliest dawn. Not sunlight, not starlight, but the glow of existence itself becoming transparent. And that light never truly disappears. Even now, billions of years later, it still travels across the cosmos. You can detect it with sensitive instruments, a faint microwave whisper, uniform and everywhere. It is the cosmic background radiation, the afterglow of this very breath of creation, the universe's memory, stretched thin across eternity. You might feel a quiet awe as you imagine it, light from that first moment passing through you right now. Those same photons, that same ancient energy, still wandering, still humming. It's a connection that erases all distance, a reminder that everything once shared a single heartbeat. You close your eyes and feel the expansion continuing inside you. Your chest rises and falls. Your thoughts drift and stretch. The atoms in your body still hum with the echo of that first cosmic motion. Every cell, every molecule, every heartbeat, all carry within them the signature of that breath. The breath that made everything move. The breath that began before beginnings. And now, as the universe settles into its new rhythm, it begins to wonder what it has become. Light fills space. Energy cools. But something new is about to awaken. Something that will pull, gather, and shape everything that follows. A quiet force that dreams of form. The universe is about to feel the first tug of gravity. The universe is still glowing. Its light, soft and endless, fills every direction at once. But something new begins to stir beneath the brightness. Something invisible, yet deeply familiar. A sense of sequence, moments, one after another, beginning to form a rhythm. This is the birth of time. It's strange to think there was ever a before, yet here you are, floating in that moment when before and after are just being invented. You feel the shift. The quiet, steady heartbeat that wasn't there before. Not a clock ticking, but a pulse, a gentle flow that begins to measure change, marking the difference between what was and what will be. Time, like light, begins to spread, not as a thing you can touch, but as a fabric you can move across. With every expansion of space, time expands too. The two are inseparable. Space gives time somewhere to exist, and time gives space the chance to change. Together, they become the stage on which every cosmic story will unfold. Imagine yourself in that first flow. There are no days or nights yet, no spinning planets to divide one rotation from the next. Time here doesn't move the way it does in your life. It stretches unevenly, expanding with the universe itself. Each second in this early cosmos feels infinite. Each fraction of a heartbeat holds eternity. The earliest instants pass, trillionths of a second, yet they shape everything that follows. Within those fleeting flashes, forces stabilize. The universe begins to decide how it will behave. Gravity anchors itself. The strong and weak nuclear forces settle into their quiet hierarchies. The laws of physics, once molten and uncertain, cool into patterns that will never truly change. And you, still drifting in that radiant fog, Feel the universe begin to move in rhythm with itself. From that moment forward, it can remember what came before. That is what time truly is. Memory made into motion. You might think of time as a straight line moving forever forward, but in truth it's woven into the very structure of space. Everywhere the universe stretches, time stretches with it. In some regions it moves faster, in others slower. It bends around energy, curves near gravity, and sometimes, at its most mysterious, it almost seems to stop. Think of time as a river. In calm waters, it flows smoothly. But where space thickens, near a star, near a black hole, the current slows, as though struggling to push through the fabric of reality. You cannot see the flow, but everything you know depends on it. Your heartbeat, your breath, the turning of your planet, all follow this quiet current. In this new young universe, the river of time has just begun to carve its path. Its first eddies swirl through the fog of particles, defining what it means to be without it. There would be no change, no growth, no story. Time is what allows existence to unfold like a book reading itself one page at a time. As space expands, time's rhythm begins to smooth out. The wild, chaotic seconds after the Big Bang calm into steady motion. The energy that once flickered chaotically now begins to settle into order. You can almost feel the cosmos sigh, a release of tension that has lasted since the first instant. Particles that were once trapped in the glare begin to drift, to cool, to form bonds that last longer than a heartbeat. Hydrogen and helium dominate this newborn universe, simple and light. They will wait billions of years before they learn to shine as stars. But already time has given them direction, a promise that what begins will one day transform. Time does not rush. It moves with patience beyond comprehension. You can sense its softness, its persistence. It's not a force that pushes, it's a presence that allows. A gentle permission for change to exist. Think about your own moments and the way your life unfolds in quiet steps. Every breath, every blink, every thought is an echo of this same unfolding. You live inside time, yet time also lives inside you. Your heartbeat is a local rhythm of the universe's much larger pulse. When you slow down, when you let go of hurry, you can feel that deeper rhythm aligning with your own. The beauty of time is not in its passing, but in what it allows to grow. Stars cannot ignite without it. Mountains cannot rise. Life cannot learn. Time is the space in which all possibilities take their turns. And just as space expands, the universe's timeline stretches too, carrying you gently along with it. You may wonder if time had a beginning, and if so, could it ever have an end? In this early universe, those questions have no meaning yet. There is only forward, an unbroken movement into what does not yet exist. But one day, when galaxies bloom and minds awaken, those same questions will return, whispered by beings who look up at the stars and remember this ancient dawn. As you float through the glow, you begin to notice something subtle. Wherever gravity gathers, time begins to bend. It slows, like deep water around a stone. This is the beginning of the universe's complexity, the interplay of motion and mass, of expansion and attraction. It's the dance that will one day form galaxies, planets, and people. You realize that time is not uniform. It moves differently for everything, depending on where it flows. Near a star, it slows. Far from one, it drifts freely. The faster something moves, the slower time feels for it. And so even in these early moments, the universe is already learning to play with its own rhythm. This truth, that time is flexible, not fixed, will one day reveal the strange harmony between space, motion, and energy. Einstein will name it space-time. But for now, it is just beginning to hum its first note. The glow around you begins to soften. The fire that once filled everything fades into a gentle warmth. Time now flows steadily, marking the universe's first true seconds, minutes, hours. Expansion continues, but with grace instead of haste. The cosmos has found its rhythm, and in that rhythm something miraculous happens. Memory takes root in the fabric of existence. Each moment leaves a trace, a subtle imprint of what has been. This is why the universe can evolve, why stars can form, why life can remember. Every instant adds to the story written into the geometry of space-time itself. You drift through that newborn continuity, feeling its calm certainty. Time, once asleep, is now awake, and it will never rest again. It carries you, carries stars, carries entire galaxies through the unfolding narrative of everything that is and will be. And somewhere deep within this steady flow, another force is beginning to stir, patient, invisible, yet destined to shape the universe's destiny. It pulls gently at every particle, gathering what expansion has scattered. A silent longing that will one day weave the first constellations of matter. You can feel its quiet hand even now, pressing softly on the current of time. The universe takes another breath, and gravity begins to dream. The universe has learned to move. Time now flows like a gentle current through a vast expanding sea. The heat of the beginning still lingers, thick and luminous, wrapping every particle in a haze of radiance. You drift there in the first true light, not the light of stars, not yet, but something older, a glow that once filled everything, before darkness had a name. This is the moment when the universe becomes visible to itself. Before this, the newborn cosmos was opaque, a storm of energy and matter, so dense that light could not travel far before colliding, scattering, vanishing again. But now, space has cooled enough for electrons and nuclei to join hands, forming the first atoms. And in that union, the light finally breaks free. The universe exhales photons into the open. They stream outward in every direction, unimpeded, unbound. That light is still traveling, even now. Billions of years later, it still stretches through the darkness, softened by distance and time. If you could listen closely enough, you would hear its faint hum, the quiet echo of the first dawn. It is not sunlight. There are no stars yet to shine. This glow is gently, a warm fog spreading evenly through the entire cosmos. Everywhere you look, the same faint shimmer. No bright points, no shadows, no edges, only a smooth, luminous field. It's as if the whole universe has become a single, endless sunrise. Scientists call this light the cosmic background radiation, though such words feel too sharp for something so soft. It is the afterglow of creation, the whisper of photons that began their journey nearly 14 billion years ago. They carry within them the story of everything, a map of temperature, density, and time itself. Tiny variations in that glow, barely measurable, will one day grow into galaxies, stars, and you. But for now, it is just light. Pure, gentle, all-encompassing light. You might imagine floating in it, weightless, surrounded by warmth. There is no direction, no sense of distance, only brightness and calm. Each photon that passes you once belonged to the same great wave that carried the universe out of its earliest chaos. Some are older than the oldest dust, older than every star, older even than the concept of old. They are, in a way, immortal messengers, and though their energy has faded, stretched thin by the continuing expansion of space, they remain loyal to their path. Everywhere you stand, they surround you. They pass through you as you sleep, touch your skin as you walk beneath the night sky, and whisper softly against the antennas of telescopes high above Earth. The universe has never stopped glowing, it has only learned to do so quietly. Light, in its essence, is the language of change. It reveals the difference between one moment and the next. Without it, time would move unseen and space would remain hidden within itself. But with light, the cosmos becomes a story, visible, radiant, and knowable. Photons do not need permission to travel. They rush through the growing space with no resistance, carrying the memory of the early universe within them. Each one is a messenger from the beginning, still speaking across distances too vast for comprehension. And even as space continues to expand, they do not slow down. Light always moves at the same pace, a steadfast promise built into the nature of reality itself. It's a comforting thought. No matter where you are, no matter how much the universe changes, the speed of light remains constant. It is the ruler by which everything else is measured, the quiet metronome keeping time for all existence. Imagine for a moment how that first light must have looked. No stars to define the night, no galaxies to anchor perspective, just a vast glowing sea, endless and soft. Everywhere you look, the same radiance. It is the universe before individuality, before any part of it stood apart from the rest. The cosmos is still one smooth whole yet to learn the art of structure. This perfect balance will not last. Tiny ripples of unevenness, born from quantum fluctuations in the earliest seconds, are already at work. In some places, matter is slightly denser, in others, slightly thinner. The light reflects those tiny imperfections, bright here, dim there. These subtle differences will grow over billions of years, shaping the galaxies, stars, and planets to come. In the gentlest of ways, creation is already sculpting itself. You can think of those ripples as the universe's first dreams, the earliest hints of what it might become, the dreams of stars, of warmth, of life. But for now, it simply glows. A child of energy and expansion, breathing its first calm breaths. As you float in that radiant sea, you might feel a strange connection, a familiarity, because you, too, carry this same light. Every atom in your body was born from the energy released in those early moments. The warmth that keeps you alive is the same warmth that once filled all of space. You are made from that glow, cooled, condensed, and shaped into thought. To exist is to carry that light forward. Every heartbeat, every spark of awareness is the universe remembering its first dawn. The brightness begins to fade as expansion continues. The glow softens, wavelengths stretch, temperatures fall. What was once blinding becomes gentle, then invisible to the naked eye. Darkness returns, not as absence, but as transformation. Light still exists, but it no longer rules. Now it travels silently, giving way to a deeper stillness. The cosmos grows larger, cooler, quieter. The background radiation that once painted every direction now slips into shadows. But even in that quiet, the light never dies. It continues to travel, to whisper, to connect the past to the present. When you look up at the night sky, that ancient glow is still there, a faint whisper behind the stars. You cannot see it directly, but sensitive instruments can. They detect the same warmth that once filled everything. It is in truth the oldest light you can ever encounter, the first light, still on its journey home. And as the glow softens into shadow, something new begins to stir again. The universe, now cool enough for gravity to act freely, begins to gather its scattered matter. Tiny seeds of unevenness, those ancient ripples, start to pull, to cling, to fold into themselves. The first structures are being imagined in the dark. The light that once filled everything will soon give way to stars that shine alone. The first stillness has passed. The first breath has expanded, the first light has faded, and in that deepening quiet, the universe prepares for its next transformation, the moment when gravity will begin to dream. The glow is fading now. What was once blinding and hot beyond imagination is softening into calm. You drift through the cooling air of creation, though there is no air, no sound, only space widening and temperature falling. It feels like the universe is exhaling. A long, slow breath after the fire of its beginning. For the first few 100,000 years, everything was light and heat and motion. But expansion has been at work all this time, gently stretching the fabric of space, and as it stretches, it cools. The density thins, the collisions slow, the chaos becomes rhythm. Every photon loses a little of its energy, its wavelength stretched by the growing universe. The once blinding brightness becomes the faint golden afterglow that will one day turn invisible to your eyes. The universe is learning peace. It is still vast and wild, but the rage of creation has eased into a steady hum. And in that hum, something remarkable begins to happen. Order, for the first time, begins to appear. You float within that early calm. The temperature has dropped enough for atoms to survive the violence that once tore them apart. Hydrogen and helium, simple, elegant, patient, drift freely now through the darkness. They are the universe's first elements, the raw fabric from which everything else will eventually be woven. There are no heavier atoms yet, no carbon, no oxygen, no iron. Those will come much later, born in the hearts of stars that do not yet exist. For now, this is an age of purity, an ocean of invisible atoms spreading endlessly in every direction, each one small, light, and alone. You might think of them as quiet seeds, waiting for gravity to remember them. And gravity is already beginning to stir. It has always been there, gentle, steady, invisible. While expansion pushes outward, gravity pulls inward. It is not loud about its work. It doesn't rush. It waits, patient as time itself, gathering what expansion leaves behind. Tiny differences left from the earliest moments. The small ripples in density begin to matter now. In slightly denser regions, gravity wins a little more strongly. Atoms drift closer together, then closer still. The expansion slows locally, and the first clouds begin to form. They are not yet stars, not yet galaxies. They are more like sighs of condensation in the cooling breath of infinity. But within them lies the future, the blueprint of structure that will one day fill the heavens. You watch the dance begin, hydrogen drawing in hydrogen, helium folding into helium. It's so slow that to measure it, you would need the patience of billions of years. But the universe has that patience. It has no deadline, no end in sight. It simply allows. Cooling changes everything. When the universe was too hot, it could not hold on to its own creations. Every atom torn apart, every molecule unmade before it had a chance to exist. But now the fire has dimmed enough for gentler forces to emerge. Atoms can bond. Gravity can gather. The rules that once destroyed now begin to create. And yet this calm is not uniform. In many places, the universe remains too sparse for anything to form. Vast regions stay dark, almost empty, as though the cosmos needs space for its quiet to breathe. But elsewhere, where density tilts ever so slightly toward fullness, gravity begins to whisper more loudly. You might imagine the universe as a great field of dew forming on invisible grass. Each drop a condensation of matter, each a promise. They will grow, they will collide, they will ignite, and through them, the universe will soon remember how to shine. From your perspective, floating quietly through this ancient fog, the darkness feels complete. The bright afterglow that once filled everything has stretched too far to seize, but darkness here isn't emptiness. It's preparation. The silence before the next crescendo. The universe is not ending its story, it's gathering breath for the next chapter of creation. If you could reach out, your hand would pass through those drifting atoms without touching a single one. They are far too sparse, far too small. Yet you would still be surrounded by them, billions of them in every direction, each one glowing faintly with leftover heat, each one holding potential within its core. Temperature continues to fall, the cosmic sea grows cooler, dimmer, calmer. The energy that once blazed now rests, folded into matter. The young universe is no longer a furnace, it's become a nursery. It's easy to imagine this cooling as a loss, a fading of brilliance, a dimming of the light. But in truth it's a gain. Only in the calm can structure arise, only in stillness can harmony take form. In the same way that your thoughts settle only when the noise fades, the cosmos too must quiet itself before beauty can appear. The temperature falls below a few thousand degrees, still unimaginably hot by earthly standards, but gentle compared to its past. Atoms now move slowly enough to feel one another's pull. Gravity continues its patient work, gathering the smallest whispers into future shapes. The universe has entered what astronomers call the cosmic dark ages, a time without stars, without light, but full of quiet preparation. You might close your eyes and feel that darkness within yourself. The pause between breaths, the moment between heartbeats. Stillness is not the absence of motion, it's the presence of readiness. In that readiness, potential gathers its strength. You too are made of such pauses. Your life, like the cosmos, grows between silences. If you could hear the universe in this moment, it would sound like the slowest lullaby, low, endless, and peaceful. A song of cooling, of patience, of waiting for fire to return. Because the universe has not forgotten light. It's only waiting to make it anew. Inside the growing darkness, gravity is busy at work. Matter begins to collect into denser clumps, and their mutual attraction grows stronger. They spin, they swirl, they fall inward. And though no eyes exist yet to see it, this is the beginning of stars. The cooling of infinity is not the end of creation. It's the moment before rebirth. Every drifting atom, every unseen current, carries the memory of that first heat and the promise of light yet to come. The cosmos has quieted, but only to listen, to feel its next rhythm forming. Soon, gravity's whispers will turn into song. The first stars will awaken, igniting the dark. The light has faded almost completely now. The universe rests in darkness, wide, silent, and cool. You drift through that shadowed expanse, surrounded by the simplest matter imaginable. Hydrogen, helium, nothing more. No stars, no planets, no light to guide the eye. Only invisible atoms moving slowly through a cosmic night. But these atoms are not empty things. Each one carries a memory, the heat of the first fire, the pulse of the first expansion, the rhythm of the first light. They are fragments of the Big Bang's breath, cooled but unforgotten. Every hydrogen atom is a tiny relic of that origin, the first stable structure the universe ever created. You could think of them as letters of a language the cosmos is just beginning to write, simple alone but powerful when joined together. Every story that will ever exist of stars, of planets, of you, will be written using these same two characters, hydrogen and helium. They are drifting now in vast clouds that stretch for light years upon light years. Invisible to any eye, yet abundant beyond imagining. In every cubic meter of space, a few atoms glide, colliding softly, bouncing apart again. They are the raw material of everything, wandering in silence, waiting for gravity's whisper to reach them. And gravity does whisper. It pulls, faintly at first, almost shyly, gathering what the cooling universe has left behind. Each tiny density ripple, those same imperfections born from the surliest moments, becomes a focus point. Matter feels the pull, drifting inward, colliding, clumping. The quiet fog begins to fold in on itself. You imagine watching this from the edge of time, the darkness stirring, faintly rippling, like a sleeping sea turning over in its rest. Here and there, the faintest hints of motion begin to appear. Clouds swirl, faint heat returns. Something is happening in the dark. For millions of years, the universe has been resting, cooling, preparing. Now, the waiting begins to end. Hydrogen atoms, so simple yet so patient, start to gather into dense clouds. The pull of gravity grows stronger as they cluster. Their collisions become more frequent, their movement more restless. As they fall inward, they compress, and compression brings heat. The cold darkness begins to warm again, not with the violent fire of the Big Bang, but with a subtler, steadier flame, the warmth of matter remembering how to shine. Inside those growing clouds, temperatures rise, pressure builds, the atoms, squeezed closer and closer, begin to behave in new ways. Their past, the fire that once forged them, starts to awaken within. This is the quiet rehearsal before the first star is born. The atoms have not yet ignited, but their memory of fusion, deep in their quantum nature, begins to stir. They know what they're capable of. Hydrogen knows it can become helium again through fire, and that act, once begun, will change everything. Each atom vibrates with the energy of its own history. Every electron still hums to the tune of the cosmic dawn. You could say that matter, in its most basic form, never truly forgets where it came from. Even now in your body, those same hydrogen atoms drift through your bloodstream, ancient, unbroken, unchanged, since they were born 13 billion years ago. They've passed through stars, oceans, lungs, and light, and yet, at their core, they still remember the heat of that first creation. In the darkness of this early universe, you watch the clouds deepen. They twist and spiral, drawn together by gravity's slow insistence. The densest regions begin to glow faintly with heat. Invisible light fills the centers of those clouds, though no one is yet there to see it. What you are witnessing is the preparation for the first stars. It is a long process, measured not in years, but in millions of years. The universe is vast and patient, and it does not hurry. The clouds collapse, fold, and ignite from within. Each one is a cradle of creation, carrying within it the memory of the Big Bang's first warmth. The atoms do not know that they are about to transform the entire cosmos. They are simply following the laws that have always guided them: attraction, motion, pressure, heat. Yet through those laws, beauty is about to be born again. You float closer to one such cloud. It is enormous, hundreds of light years wide. The outer edges remain cold, but deep within, gravity has trapped heat, building pressure until something must give. Hydrogen atoms collide with growing intensity. The temperature soars, rising into the millions, and then, as if remembering their true nature, they merge. Two atoms become one. Energy bursts forth in the act of union. A star is born. The darkness that has lasted for hundreds of millions of years begins to break. The first light since the cosmic dawn burns through the fog of hydrogen. And with that single ignition, the universe awakens once more. You can almost feel it, the warmth of that first fire reaching across the void. It is not the violent chaos of the Big Bang, but a new kind of radiance, stable, constant, creative. Stars are not explosions. They are balances between the inward pull of gravity and the outward push of fusion. They are nature's perfect harmony, burning not in destruction, but in equilibrium. The hydrogen that once cooled in silence now sings in light. Each star becomes a glowing memory, a reminder of where everything began. And though their lifetimes will be long, each carries within it the same message written into every atom. Creation never ends, it only changes form. As the first stars ignite, they begin to transform their surroundings. Their light reaches across the cosmic fog, slowly clearing it. Their heat stirs nearby atoms into motion. Their winds sculpt the darkness into shape. And deep within their blazing cores, fusion begins to craft new elements: carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, iron. The ingredients for everything that will ever live. The universe is no longer silent. It glows again, this time not as a whole, but through a billion scattered points of brilliance. The long night has ended. Darkness and light have learned to share the sky. You watch it unfold, the first constellations not yet named, the first light crossing the first distances. And through it all, the atoms remember. They remember the heat from which they came, the silence from which they emerged, and the harmony they have found again. The cosmos, once formless, now has a heartbeat, a rhythm of birth, light, and transformation. The atoms that once wandered alone have found purpose. The universe is no longer merely expanding, and it is creating. And as you drift in that newborn starlight, you realize something soft and profound. Every particle in your body, every trace of breath and thought is built from the same matter that first learned to shine. You are in truth a collection of atoms remembering the fire. And far beyond, where light is still faint and gravity's song still gathering, the stars are multiplying. Their glow spreads, their heat reshapes the universe. The long darkness is over, and a new cosmic era has begun, the era when gravity begins to dream in earnest. The universe is glowing again, softly, patiently, from countless points of light scattered across the dark. Each star burns not with chaos, but with balance, a harmony born from gravity's dream. You drift through this awakening surrounded by light so ancient it seems to breathe. Gravity has always been here, though it needed time to be heard. It does not shout, it whispers. And yet that whisper carries more power than any explosion ever could. It is the quiet desire of everything to be together. Every atom feels it. Every galaxy obeys it. In the beginning, expansion tore matter apart, stretching it thin across the vastness. But gravity remembers what the universe once was. One. Now, slowly, patiently, it begins to gather the scattered pieces again. Like dew forming on a web, matter condenses along invisible lines, each drawn by gravity's unseen hand. Where atoms collect, clouds form. Where clouds collapse, stars are born. And around those stars, worlds will one day circle, warmed by the same force that brought them together. You can think of gravity as the universe's memory of itself, the part that longs to return home. It doesn't resist expansion, it dances with it. Together, they shape the rhythm of the cosmos. One pushes outward, one pulls inward. Their balance writes the story of existence. Without gravity, there would be no structure, no stars, no life, just endless motion, uniform and lifeless. Gravity gives form to chaos, is the artist shaping light into pattern, silence into melody. When you look up at the stars, you're seeing its work. Delicate sculptures of motion, frozen in the light. Each galaxy is a poem written by gravity, each cluster a verse in the universe's unfolding song. In these early cosmic times, gravity's influence is still young. The first stars cluster together, drawn by mutual attraction. They form families, star clusters, growing into galaxies. Each cluster spins, forming spirals and spheres, patterns that will echo through all of cosmic history. The universe is no longer a fog, it's becoming a tapestry. You watch these galaxies take shape, delicate whirlpools of light, glowing softly in the endless dark. They're made of billions of stars, yet from afar they move as one, graceful and slow. Their arms stretch out like cosmic rivers, spiraling into the night. The faint pull between them gives rise to dance, collisions that merge one galaxy into another, creating something larger each time. Even chaos becomes creative under gravity's care. Two galaxies colliding do not destroy each other. They blend, reshaping their stars into new formations. In every encounter, beauty increases. It is as if gravity is dreaming, imagining new ways for light to gather. Down to smaller scales, the same truth holds. Inside each galaxy, gravity shapes stars into families, systems with planets, moons, and asteroids. It weaves invisible threads that bind all things together. Every orbit is a reminder of its patience. Every falling apple, every ocean tide, every heartbeat, all small reflections of the same ancient pull that first shaped the cosmos. You feel it even now, though softly. Gravity isn't only something that acts on matter, it acts on time. Near massive objects, time slows down, stretched by gravity's embrace. A second near a star is not the same as a second in the cold of deep space. Time itself bends toward gravity, following its quiet will. This too is part of its dream, to shape not only motion, but the very fabric of reality. Einstein would one day describe it this way: space and time are not separate, but one fabric, and gravity is the bending of that fabric by energy and mass. The universe is not a stage upon which events unfold, it is the stage and the play and the motion all at once. Every object tells space how to curve, and every curve tells objects how to move. It's a conversation written into the heart of everything. You can picture it like this. Imagine a sheet stretched tight, smooth and still. Place a marble in the center, and the sheet dips. Now roll another marble nearby, and it begins to spiral inward, drawn not by a force in the usual sense, but by the shape of the space itself. That's gravity. Not a pull from afar, but the geometry of existence gently guiding matter toward matter. And so, when you look up at the stars, you're not just seeing light, you're seeing the curved fabric of space, holding that light in place. Galaxies orbit within invisible wells. Planets dance in quiet ellipses, and all of it happens because gravity dreams in shapes. But gravity dreams in time too. Its influence grows stronger as the universe cools and slows. It gathers, organizes, and deepens its hold. Without hurry, without rest. Its dream is not of conquest, but of coherence, of bringing what was scattered into relationship. Even the future of the universe is shaped by that dream. If expansion slows enough, gravity might one day pull everything back inward, collapsing the cosmos into itself again. A great return to unity. Or perhaps expansion will continue forever, leaving gravity's creations drifting apart until distance itself becomes infinite. No one yet knows which dream will win, but for now, in this moment of balance, both coexist, the outward breath of space and the inward sigh of gravity. You drift through one of these newborn galaxies, a swirl of light that has only just found its shape. Stars burn in its spiral arms, their light mingling with the cool clouds between them. The airless silence is profound but not empty. Everywhere you turn, you sense gravity's presence, invisible but absolute. It tugs at you gently, reminding you that nothing in the universe is ever truly alone. You pass near a cluster of young stars still wrapped in veils of gas and dust. Their birth clouds twist and shimmer, sculpted by gravity's patient hand. Some of these stars will live long and steady lives. Others will burn quickly and die in dazzling explosions. But even in their deaths, gravity will reclaim their remnants, the ashes, the atoms, the light itself. Nothing is ever lost, only transformed. You may not realize it, but gravity shapes the path of your life just as surely as it shapes galaxies. It holds you to the Earth. It keeps your world tethered to the sun, your sun bound to its galaxy, and your galaxy tied into a web of others. The same law that governs the fall of a leaf also directs the dance of galaxies 100 million light-years away. In its reach, there is no hierarchy, no favoritism, only inclusion. Everything belongs to gravity's dream. From the smallest particle to the largest supercluster, all things are connected in this slow, tender embrace. If you've ever felt the quiet comfort of belonging somewhere, of being held, even when you can't explain why, then, in a small way, you have felt gravity's heart. The universe now hums with structure, stars, galaxies, and the first delicate threads of the cosmic web. And through it all, gravity continues to dream. Its whispers become architecture. Its patience becomes creation. Without it, there would be no place for light to shine, no rhythm for time to follow, no story for life to tell. But even as galaxies bloom and stars ignite, something more intimate begins to emerge within their fiery hearts. Fusion, the same process that gives stars their light, starts to forge new elements, new possibilities. The universe is about to create the ingredients for life itself. And as you drift beneath the starlight of this newborn cosmos, you can feel it, the first breath of creation's next chapter, the moment when stars begin to write the chemistry of existence. You are floating now in a universe newly awake. The darkness that once seemed endless is pricked with light, not the gentle afterglow of the Big Bang, but sharp, brilliant fire. The first stars have ignited, and with their birth the cosmos has learned how to shine again. You might imagine the scene as quiet, but it isn't. If sound could travel through space, it would be a choir of energy, 1,000 overlapping tones humming through the void. Each star is a note, its own frequency of brilliance, its own version of the same song. Together, they turn the darkness into a living radiance. These first stars are not like the ones you see in the night sky now. They are larger, colossal beyond comparison, hundreds of times the mass of your sun. They burn hotter, brighter, faster. Their lives are brief but spectacular, each one a furnace of creation. Inside their cores, hydrogen is crushed into helium, releasing the steady pulse of light that fills space. In that fusion, matter is turned into energy, the same process that once powered the entire universe, now reborn within each point of light. You drift closer to one of them. Its glow is too fierce for your eyes to hold, yet its presence feels oddly calm. Around it, clouds of gas swirl, illuminated by the golden light that stretches for billions of miles. Within that fire, atoms merge in patterns both simple and profound. Hydrogen fuses into helium, helium into heavier elements. Step by step, the star is building the raw materials for everything that will ever exist. In its heart, the universe is learning the art of transformation. Each reaction, each flicker, each shimmer of energy is a syllable in a new cosmic language, the language of elements. The star is writing the alphabet of creation. Carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, iron, all born from the quiet insistence of heat and pressure. From chaos comes chemistry, and through that chemistry, life will one day learn to speak. You might think of these stars as teachers, ancient masters of matter. They do not move with intention, yet their lessons shape everything that follows. Without them, there would be no earth, no breath, no thought. Every molecule in your body was once inside a star like this one. The calcium in your bones, the oxygen in your lungs, the iron in your blood, all of it forged in the heart of dying suns. When you breathe, when you think, when you simply exist, you're echoing their ancient labor. The universe does not know what it is building, but it builds nonetheless. And in its building, beauty emerges. The first stars cluster together, their light weaving through clouds of hydrogen like silk threads through fog. These clusters grow, merge, and spin, pulled into spirals by gravity's slow rhythm. The first galaxies are forming, immense cities of light, each one a universe within the universe. You travel between them, gliding through the cosmic sea, everywhere the same song, stars burning, stars dying, stars reborn. The universe has entered its luminous age. After millions of years of darkness, light reigns again, but light is never idle. It transforms what it touches. Radiation from these new stars pushes against nearby clouds, shaping them, sculpting them into new forms. Some of these clouds collapse under their own weight, birthing new generations of stars. Creation feeds creation, an endless cycle of ignition. The first stars live quickly. Their enormous size means their fuel burns fast. A few million years, a blink of cosmic time, and they begin to die. But their deaths are not gentle. They end in supernovae, explosions so powerful they outshine entire galaxies for brief moments. In those fiery deaths, the elements they have made are thrown into space, scattered like seeds into the darkness. The cosmos, once made only of hydrogen and helium, now carries the ingredients for everything complex. You can imagine it, the universe breathing out heavy elements in vast clouds glowing with energy. Every star that dies enriches its surroundings, feeding the next generation of stars, the next potential for life. The universe is not static, it's learning how to recycle itself. There's a quiet poetry to this process. Each star is both a creator and a destroyer, both a parent and a child. Its light is temporary, but its gift is eternal. The universe needed these early giants, bright, brief beacons that lit the path for everything that would come. You might wonder, what does it mean for light to be born? Light, after all, isn't a thing that can stay still. It's a traveler, a messenger, a memory that never stops moving. When a star shines, it sends out messages written in photons, each one carrying the imprint of the star's heart. Those photons travel across time and distance, crossing billions of years, until one day, perhaps, they find a world with eyes to see them. Some of the light from those first stars still travels today. It has been stretched and softened by expansion, red-shifted into microwaves invisible to human sight. Yet it's there, washing over you every second. The universe's first light still touches your skin. You drift further, passing between galaxies now alive with color. Each one glows differently, some blue with the heat of new stars, others red with the warmth of older ones. Gravity continues to guide the dance, binding everything in its quiet embrace. The stars pulse in and out of existence, their light weaving the story of time itself. From afar, the universe no longer looks dark and lonely. It is a garden in bloom, each star a flower of fusion, each galaxy a field of fire. The cosmos has learned beauty, and in that beauty something else begins to stir, the faint possibility of awareness. You realize that light is not just energy, it is information. Every beam carries the memory of its source, the patterns of its birth. To look at a star is to see into the past, to read what the universe once was. The further you look, the further back you go. The night sky is not a surface, it's a window through time. Each point of light a letter in the cosmic autobiography. And somewhere deep inside you know that when the universe made light, it also made the possibility of knowing. Without light, there could be no perception, no consciousness, no reflection. Light reveals. It allows the universe to see itself. In every photon, awareness takes its first quiet breath. The first stars are fading now, many collapsing under their own weight, some bursting into brilliance, some shrinking into dense remnants, black holes, neutron stars, white dwarfs. Their lives, though brief, have changed everything. Their light has reionized the universe, making it transparent again. Their ashes have seeded galaxies with richness. Their gravity has sculpted the architecture of the heavens. The cosmos is alive, not in the way you are alive, but in the way a song is alive, unfolding, resonating, continuing beyond its first note. The light of these early stars will never truly vanish. It will echo forever, red-shifted, softened, whispered across eternity. You float in that radiance, feeling its warmth like memory. The universe has found its rhythm, gravity and fusion, expansion and collapse, creation and loss. And from this delicate balance, new wonders will soon emerge. Because as the stars continue to live and die, their ashes begin to gather again. Dust, rich with the elements of life, drifts through galaxies, clinging together in new formations. From that dust, something even more intricate is about to rise, something that will reflect the light back, not just as fire, but as thought. The first light of stars has filled the darkness, and within that glow the seeds of worlds are quietly forming. The first stars have lived, burned, and scattered their ashes. Now, in their wake, gravity continues its slow, careful work. It gathers light and dust, atoms and echoes, shaping what was chaos into structure. You drift through this grand process, through the first galaxies being born. They begin as great clouds of gas, collapsing inward under their own weight. From far away they look like mist curling in the dark, illuminated from within by newborn stars. But as they fall and twist, something elegant begins to emerge. Rotation, a swirl, a spiral. The universe has started to learn the art of motion. At first, these spirals are crude, uneven, unsteady. They twist one way, then another, their shape changing over millions of years. But slowly their balance finds perfection. Gravity pulls inward. Momentum spins outward. Together they create a structure that holds, a disk of stars and gas, thin yet vast, graceful yet immense. Galaxies are no longer clouds, they are architecture. You watch one of them forming, a young spiral shimmering in blue light. At its center, stars are packed so densely that the glow becomes constant, like the heartbeat of the cosmos. Further out, the light fades into worlds of dust, dark lanes weaving through glowing arms. Each arm is alive, full of stars being born, dying and born again, a slow, eternal rhythm. These galaxies are families of light. Some contain billions of stars, some only a few. Each one spins like a wheel of fire, carrying within it the memory of the forces that shaped it. You could almost hear the sound of it. Not noise, but the deep hum of rotation, the quiet music of cosmic order emerging from chaos. And among them all, one galaxy is forming that will one day matter deeply to you. It begins like the others, a swirl of gas, a cradle of starlight, but over billions of years it will take on a shape both familiar and sacred, a vast silver spiral, the Milky Way. At this stage, the galaxies are closer together than they will ever be again. Gravity draws them towards one another, sometimes merging them in slow, graceful collisions. When they meet, they do not destroy. They dance. Their stars rarely collide. The distances between them are too great, but their shapes distort, their spirals stretch, their cores brighten. From these encounters, new galaxies are born, each more complex than before. Every collision leaves behind traces, long trails of starlight arcing through space, bridges of gas connecting one system to another. It is as if the universe is painting with motion, each stroke luminous and soft. You can almost see the brushwork, the flow of time sculpting form. In this cosmic ballet, the rules are simple but the beauty endless. Gravity pulls, momentum resists. The balance between them creates everything. Even the shapes of galaxies, elliptical, spiral, irregular, are the result of that quiet ancient tension. You drift closer to the newborn Milky Way. Its arms are not yet clearly defined, but they are beginning to take shape. Clouds of hydrogen trace faint spirals, guided by the pull of the galactic center. At the heart of that center lies something mysterious, a massive object, invisible but powerful. It's a black hole, already millions of times heavier than the sun. Even now, in this early epoch, black holes have begun their silent reign. They do not merely destroy, they shape. Their gravity organizes the stars around them, stabilizing the galactic core. Matter that falls toward them releases light, heating gas, sparking new waves of star formation. Creation and destruction have become partners. The black hole is not a void, it is an anchor. You can imagine the Milky Way slowly growing around this invisible center, its arms reaching outward like ribbons, its stars forming in great luminous waves. Every turn of the spiral marks another billion years of cosmic patience. From this vast view, galaxies seem eternal, but inside them everything is changing. Stars live and die, exploding and reforming. Gas clouds drift, collide and collapse again. Even galaxies themselves evolve, growing older, calmer, wiser. You float through one of the spiral arms. Dust scatters light into faint rainbows. Stars of every color shimmer. Blue ones young and fierce, red ones old and gentle. Between them lie nebulae, enormous clouds of gas glowing softly, lit from within by the stars they cradle. They are nurseries, where gravity still works in miniature, shaping new suns from ancient dust. If you could reach out your hand, the starlight would pass right through it. There is no solid surface here, only the quiet dance of particles, but you feel the structure, the rhythm, the rotation. You sense the immense scale of it all. 100 billion stars circling a center so far away that one orbit takes 200 million years. And yet, everything moves with perfect grace. You may not realize it, but you live inside one of these arms billions of years later. Your world, your sun, your every breath, all part of this same galactic dance. When you look up at the night sky, you're seeing only a sliver of this vast spiral from within it. The band of the Milky Way arching overhead is not a cluster of clouds, but the cross-section of your own galaxy seen edge on. The stars you see are your cosmic siblings, each born from the same ancient dust. Their light travels for hundreds or thousands of years before touching your eyes. To look at them is to touch the past. To exist within them is to belong to the grandest structure the universe has ever built, a spiral born from gravity's patience and time's endurance. But even now, as galaxies settle into shape, the universe does not rest. Expansion continues, stretching the spaces between them. Clusters form, great gatherings of galaxies bound together by mutual gravity. And even these clusters begin to link across the cosmos, forming filaments, vast webs of structure that span billions of light years. The universe is weaving itself into a network, luminous threads of matter connected by unseen bridges of dark energy. You can almost see it from this height, a cosmic web glowing faintly, stretching in every direction. Galaxies glitter like fireflies along invisible filaments. Between them, dark voids yawn, vast, quiet regions where almost nothing resides. This is the architecture of reality itself, the skeleton of the cosmos. And within this infinite web, the spirals keep turning, each one a microcosm of creation, each one a reflection of gravity's dream now fully realized. You float back into the darkness between galaxies, watching their light fade with distance, feeling the quiet that follows such immensity. The universe is no longer the simple glowing fog it once was. It is now a grand mosaic, structured, balanced, alive with motion. But even as the galaxies continue to spiral, the story is not done. Because within the calm of this vast order, a new force begins to show its presence. Something strange and invisible. Something that does not shine, yet pushes everything apart faster and faster. The universe, once ruled by gravity, is about to meet its quiet rival, the mysterious hand of dark energy. You have drifted far enough now that galaxies no longer appear as single points of light. They shimmer below you like lanterns hung across an endless field, scattered yet bound. Each one spins alone, yet none are truly isolated. There are bridges between them, invisible, patient and vast. From afar, the universe begins to reveal its true shape. It is not chaos. It is not a random scattering of stars. It is a structure, delicate, intricate, and immense beyond comprehension. The galaxies are arranged along invisible filaments, strung like pearls on cosmic threads. Between these glowing strands lie enormous empty spaces, dark and silent. Together, the threads and voids form the cosmic web. You're seeing the architecture of everything, the skeleton of reality itself, the pattern that gravity drew from the smallest fluctuations of the Big Bang. Imagine it. The web stretches across the observable universe, hundreds of billions of light years wide. Each filament is made not of silk or light, but of dark matter, the mysterious unseen mass that outweighs all visible stars combined. You cannot see it, yet you feel its pull. It bends galaxies into alignment, holding them in great cosmic rivers. Through these invisible highways, matter flows like water through valleys, gathering into luminous knots, clusters of galaxies bound together by mutual gravity. You drift along one of these filaments now, passing through regions where hundreds of galaxies shimmer like distant embers. Between them lie hundreds of millions of light years of near emptiness. And yet, the pull persists. Even in that void, the thread continues, unseen but unbroken. It's as if the universe itself refuses to be alone. Astronomers have mapped this grand structure, using light from the farthest quasars and galaxies. The maps resemble something strangely familiar, like neural pathways in a brain, or the roots of trees spreading beneath soil. The same pattern repeats across scales, branching, interwoven, self-similar. The universe, in its vastness, mirrors the architecture of thought. It is as if the cosmos is both the canvas and the artist. You pause in your drifting to take it in, this silent geometry. Each cluster of galaxies hums faintly with energy, connected to others through dark matter's embrace. Filaments stretch and bend, sometimes merging, sometimes splitting, forming junctions that resemble cosmic cities of light. At the intersections, galaxies crowd together, drawn by gravity's shared memory. They are neighbors in a universe too large to measure. The cosmic web was not planned. It grew from tiny variations, ripples in the density of the early universe. Some regions held slightly more matter than others. Over billions of years, those differences amplified, gravity gathering matter into filaments and knots. The empty regions emptied further, while the rich regions grew richer. And so, without design, a pattern emerged, elegant, balanced, inevitable. You realize something profound as you move through it. The universe did not need perfection to create beauty. It needed imbalance. Without those faint ripples, there would be no stars, no galaxies, no you. Imperfection is the seed of everything. Within this web, light travels along paths carved by gravity. Every beam of starlight bends slightly as it moves through the dense filaments, curving around clusters of galaxies. This phenomenon is called gravitational lensing, the bending of light by mass. It allows astronomers to see the invisible dark matter, tracing its shape through the distortions it creates. You can picture it as glasswork, the universe as a lens, its filaments warping light like ripples on a pond. Even the faintest starlight becomes a message, reshaped by the structure of everything it passes through. Nothing travels untouched. Every journey of light is also a story of connection. As you glide through these warped pathways, you sense that you're not moving through emptiness at all. Space itself is textured, curved, stretched, alive. The cosmic web is not separate from space. It is space, folding and bending under the influence of matter. Here, time moves differently too. In the dense centers of clusters, gravity slows it slightly. In the empty voids, time flows more freely. The fabric of space-time breathes with the rhythm of structure, expanding, stretching, changing. You're floating through a living organism, a vast system whose heartbeat is the interplay of expansion and gravity. If you could listen, really listen, you might hear it, not as sound, but as a hum of resonance, the background vibration of reality itself. This hum is faint but constant, woven into the microwave radiation that fills all of space. It is the same ancient echo that once filled the newborn universe, now stretched across billions of years. You realize you have been surrounded by connection all along. Every atom in your body, every breath you take, exists within this same web. You're not drifting through it. You're part of it. The carbon that makes your cells was forged in one star, the oxygen from another. Their ashes mixed in interstellar clouds, folded into new worlds. You're not separate from the cosmic web. You're one of its luminous threads. Galaxies like you do not exist alone. They move through this network in great streams, drawn towards regions of higher density. Over billions of years, these flows shape the universe's large-scale motion. Clusters pull on one another, superclusters drift together, and the entire cosmic web stretches ever outward as the universe expands. And yet, as it expands, a mystery deepens. Something unseen, something repulsive rather than attractive, begins to push galaxies apart faster and faster. Dark energy. It is not like dark matter which gathers and holds. This new force spreads and separates. It is the quiet opposite of gravity, a pressure that causes space itself to stretch. Astronomers can measure its effect, but not its source. It does not emit light nor absorb it. It is woven into the fabric of space, altering its rhythm. Through its influence, the web begins to thin, its filaments pulled wider by acceleration. You hover in awe, watching it happen in slow motion. Galaxies drift away from one another, clusters losing touch. The great connections that once held everything together begin to fade. The web is still there, but tension grows between its threads. Expansion, once gentle, is now insistent. The universe's breath is deepening, its exhale speeding up. And yet, even as distance grows, the memory of unity remains. Every galaxy still carries within it the story of connection. How matter once clung to matter, how gravity sculpted light, how everything once belonged to everything else. It's humbling and strangely comforting to know that the pattern still exists even as it stretches apart. The cosmic web is not gone. It simply expands with the universe's dreams. You begin to move again, following the glow of galaxies fading into the deep. The silence between them widens, but it is not empty. It is filled with memory, the echo of the first light, the geometry of connection, the quiet work of unseen forces. The web that connects the cosmos is still here, threaded through every atom, every breath, every moment. You feel it inside you. that subtle pull of belonging, that sense that even in infinite distance, nothing is ever truly apart. And as the universe keeps expanding, you realize something else. The pattern is not slowing, it is accelerating. Space itself is beginning to stretch faster than light can follow. A new force, silent and unstoppable, is taking over. The mysterious expansion that will decide the fate of everything. The universe is breathing again, not the short, heated breath of its birth, but a long, quiet exhale that never seems to end. You drift within it, feeling the slow pull of time, watching galaxies slide away from one another like lights on an endless tide. At first, this expansion feels gentle. The galaxies move apart, but gravity still links them faintly, holding clusters together. It is the balance that has always defined existence, the push of space, the pull of gravity. But over billions of years, something begins to shift. A new rhythm enters the song of the cosmos. Expansion does not slow down. It accelerates. No explosion caused this. No wind, no force from outside. The universe itself is doing it. Space is expanding into more space. Between every cluster of galaxies, new distance forms. Between each second, another heartbeat of emptiness grows. And deep beneath this strange acceleration lies a mystery so vast, even the stars cannot name it. We call it dark energy. You cannot see dark energy. You cannot touch it. It does not glow or move or pull, yet it makes up nearly 70% of everything that exists. It is the background hum of existence, the pressure that lives within space itself. You drift through the darkness, and you can feel it subtly. A gentle pushing, stretching, widening. It is not violent. It is not chaotic. It is calm, steady, relentless. Everywhere you look, galaxies grow smaller, not because they shrink, but because the space between you and them expands faster than light can bridge it. It is easy to think of space as a thing that expands into something, but there is no outside. Space doesn't grow into the void, it creates its own. Everywhere is expanding at once, every moment unfolding into more moments, every breath of the cosmos becoming larger simply by existing. When astronomers first measured this acceleration, they were astonished. They had expected gravity to slow the universe's expansion. After all, every galaxy, every cluster, every star has mass, and mass attracts. But instead they found the opposite. The galaxies were rushing away from each other faster than ever before. The universe was not winding down. It was racing towards something unknown. The discovery changed everything. It meant that the cosmos would not collapse back into itself. At least, not anytime soon. It would not fall asleep in the comfort of another beginning. It would keep stretching, perhaps forever, until the very concept of together began to fade. You watch it happening now, slowly, delicately, like silk unspooling in slow motion. Galaxies drift apart, clusters lose touch. The great filaments of the cosmic web begin to thin, distance grows faster than connection can compensate. Light traveling between galaxies is stretched by expansion until it fades into invisibility. Over time, the night sky will grow darker. Far, far into the future, even the nearest galaxies will slip beyond sight, their light stretched into wavelengths too long to detect. One day, perhaps trillions of years from now, an observer in some distant galaxy will look into the sky and see only their own stars, believing theirs to be the whole universe. You think of this, how beauty itself can stretch away, how connection can fade not from loss, but from the quiet persistence of change. There's something tender about it, something human. Even the universe must learn to let go. Dark energy does not fight gravity directly. It simply grows stronger as space expands. The more space there is, the more room dark energy has to act. It is self-sustaining, the universe's own feedback loop. And so, what began as a gentle outward drift becomes a surge, a slow, endless acceleration that defines the cosmos. It may never stop. The universe might continue expanding forever, its fabric stretching thinner and thinner until stars can no longer form, until even atoms drift too far apart to interact. That far future is called the heat death, a time when everything cools to uniform emptiness, when motion itself fades and the cosmos becomes silent once more. But that is not now. Now, the universe is still alive with movement, still shining with the energy of its own creation. You're witnessing the middle of its story, the age of galaxies, of light, of curiosity. It's strange, isn't it, how something invisible can shape everything so completely? Dark energy is not a substance. It is not a gas or a field or a wind. It is an intrinsic property of space itself. Every cubic centimetre of space, no matter how empty, contains a faint energy, a push outward, and as space expands, the total amount of that energy grows. You realise then that expansion is not something happening to the universe. It is the universe. It is the way reality expresses its own being. In the same way that you breathe, space stretches. In the same way your thoughts expand with awareness, the cosmos expands with time. You are part of this too. The atoms in your body, once confined to the heat of the first fire, are now carried outward by the universe's breath. You're expanding slowly with the fabric of space itself. You're not separate from it. You're one small ripple in its unending exhale. Astronomers sometimes speak of fate, of the future written into the equations of expansion. Will the universe stretch forever? Will dark energy grow stronger still, tearing galaxies, stars, even atoms apart? Or will it fade, leaving gravity to reclaim the scattered pieces of creation? No one knows. Perhaps this is how it must be. Perhaps the universe, like a living thing, must not know how its story ends. It must simply keep becoming, moment by moment, just as you do. Learning, shifting, breathing, never fully complete. There is comfort in that uncertainty. If the cosmos can expand forever, without needing to know why, perhaps you can too. Perhaps existence is not about destination, but about the simple act of continuing, of stretching into what comes next. You float now among the galaxies, watching their light, drift farther apart with each heartbeat. Space feels vast beyond measure, but not empty. Even here in the widening darkness, you sense the quiet presence of the same energy that began it all. The universe has never truly stopped expanding. It has only changed how it does so, from a violent beginning to a gentle, endless unfolding. You look back at the cosmic web behind you, its threads glowing faintly in the distance. They are still connected, but thinner now, their intersections fading into the horizon of time. You realize that this is how everything expands, not in separation, but in transformation. The pattern remains even as it stretches, and as you drift onward through this widening universe, you feel the steady rhythm of its exhale, soft, constant, infinite, the expansion that never ends. But even in this eternal outward breath, there is a paradox waiting quietly in the dark. If space can expand forever, can time itself do the same? Or does there come a moment when even time must slow, stretching thin, falling blunt? You look toward that question now, the edge where light fades and time begins to curve. Something deep in the darkness stirs again, the quiet presence of light that refuses to die, still travelling through the endlessness, the light that outlives the stars. The stars are not eternal. Even the brightest among them burn through their fuel, exhausting the hydrogen and helium that once gave them life. They fade, collapse, or explode, each in its own way, each in its own time. And yet, as their fire dims, something remains, their light. You drift in the quiet after a star's death. Its brilliance has vanished from your view, its core gone still. But the photons it released, the particles of light born from its fire, will continue their journey outward. They move with perfect loyalty, each one carrying a story that can never be erased. The universe may expand, galaxies may drift apart, but light does not forget its direction. Once a photon is released, it will travel forever, its wavelength stretching with the cosmos, its energy fading slowly but never stopping. And so the sky, even as stars die, remains alive with memory. You look around and you see it everywhere. A faint haze of light from stars that burned billions of years ago, their brilliance softened by time, their messages still crossing the void. Some of the light reaching you tonight began its journey before Earth even existed. When those photons set out, there were no oceans, no trees, no minds to see them. And yet they kept moving, as if they always knew they would one day be witnessed. Every beam of starlight you have ever seen is a letter from the past, a message sent across unimaginable distances through the silence of expanding space. When you gaze up at the night sky, you are not looking at the present at all. You are looking through time. The stars are gone, but their light remains, proof that nothing luminous truly disappears. If you could follow one photon, you would see a journey without rest. It leaves its star, slips through the gravity of planets, and travels into the deep, unbroken dark. It never slows down. Nothing can catch it. Nothing can overtake it. Even space itself stretches around it, but it simply lengthens its wavelength and continues onward. Its color changes from blue to red. Its energy softens, but it does not stop. This is what eternity looks like in the language of physics. Not stillness, but motion without end. Not permanence, but persistence. And perhaps that is how all endurance works. Not in staying the same, but in continuing, even as you change form. You drift deeper into the cosmic night. Around you are the faintest shimmers of starlight, each one a relic from a vanished sun. Some photons are millions of years old, others billions. Together, they form the cosmic background of starlight, a sea of faint radiance that fills every corner of space. If your eyes could see all wavelengths, you would realize that the universe still glows softly in every direction, not with the fierce brilliance of its youth, but with the warmth of the memory. A diffuse afterglow from all the stars that ever lived, their lights stretched thin by expansion, their voices still whispering, "I was here." That glow is called the cosmic infrared background. It is a record of stellar creation, the echo of galaxies, the ghost light of suns, the quiet shimmer of everything that ever burned. You float within it now, bathed in a radiance older than your species, older even than your world. You might wonder, why does light keep traveling? Why doesn't it slow or fade completely? The answer is simple and profound. There is nothing for it to rest against. In the vacuum of space, there is no friction, no resistance, no pause. Once released, light has no reason to stop. It is the purest expression of motion. And so, even after its source has vanished, its essence continues to move, a message sent not to anyone, but to existence itself. In that way, light is like thought. Once born, it cannot be unmade. It may dim, it may be stretched, but its trace endures. Every thought you have, every kindness, every act of wonder, creates a ripple no less real than this, something that travels, changing the world in ways you may never see, and far ahead you see a galaxy whose stars are dying faster than they are born. Its spiral arms are faint now, its dust turned cold, but even as its light fades, its photons continue to stream outward, crossing the widening gulf of space. Over eons, their wavelengths stretch, their colors redden, their energy weakens, yet each photon is still on its journey, still adding to the quiet background of the universe. The galaxy itself will one day vanish from sight, pulled beyond the horizon of observation by the accelerating expansion. But its light, the light you see now, will continue to exist as a faint whisper in the cosmic sea. The universe is not cruel in its impermanence. It preserves what it loves through motion. Nothing luminous is ever truly lost. Even now, as you float through this quiet glow, you are surrounded by light that will outlive you, and light that you will outlive in turn. The photons bouncing from your face, the ones reflecting from your eyes as you look up at the sky, they too will travel forever. They will shatter, fade, and stretch, but they will not cease. Your existence, however brief, has already left its mark on the fabric of time. Some of that light will continue long after the last star dies. It will move through a cosmos grown cold and vast, its energy stretched to nothingness, its memory still intact. That far future will be dark beyond imagining, but not empty. For even then, photons will still glide through space, echoes of everything that once was. It is comforting in a way to know that something of every brightness survives. Every sunrise, every supernova, every flicker of fire and thought, all are carried forward by light. You look around and see the faint weave of the cosmic web again, its filaments dim but still visible in the haze of ancient photons. The stars that once defined it have begun to fade, but their light remains, a glowing memory connecting every corner of space. The web itself has become luminous with history. You drift through it slowly, and as you do, you feel a quiet realization. Light does not simply reveal the universe. It is the universe remembering itself. It carries history not as memory, but as motion. It is the way the cosmos keeps its own story alive, and far in the distance a single photon passes by you, tiny, invisible, alone. It might have left its star billions of years ago, or perhaps it was born from a supernova's dying breath. You will never know its origin, but it moves past you like a traveler who will never rest. It doesn't look back, doesn't slow, doesn't fade into despair. It simply continues. And that, perhaps, is the quiet lesson of light, to keep going, to carry what was once bright even when the source has gone dark. To move forward not because of destination, but because motion itself is meaning. The stars die, but their light lives on. Their glow outlasts their form, their warmth outlives their fire. And as you drift with that eternal light, you begin to wonder, what else in this vast and expanding universe might endure beyond the stars? Perhaps the echo of the first dawn still hums somewhere, a soft background tone carrying the oldest memory of all, the afterglow of creation itself, the echo still heard today. You lie within the stillness of space, surrounded by darkness that is not empty. It hums softly, faint but constant, a whisper from the dawn of everything. The universe is quiet now, but not silent. Hidden beneath all the newer sounds, the light of stars, the pulse of galaxies, there remains an echo, older than all of it. A faint radiation that fills every direction, every corner, every atom of existence. This is the cosmic microwave background, the afterglow of creation itself, a light so ancient that it began when the universe was only 380,000 years old, a newborn cosmos taking its first visible breath. You cannot see it with your eyes. It is too faint, too stretched by time. Its waves are long and cool now, their temperature barely above absolute zero. Yet it fills the sky completely. It is everywhere, and it has been travelling for over 13 billion years. You're surrounded by it, bathed in the universe's oldest memory. It began at the moment when the first atoms formed, when the universe finally cooled enough for light to travel freely. Before that, space was filled with a dense plasma of particles, electrons, protons, photons, all colliding endlessly, scattering light before it could go anywhere. It was a fog of energy, radiant but opaque. But as the cosmos expanded and cooled, that fog lifted. Atoms came together, and suddenly light could move unimpeded. Those first free photons began a journey that has never stopped. The cosmic microwave background is that very light, the first light that could ever travel, the first message the universe ever sent. You are hearing it now, not a sound, but as the quiet static of existence itself. If you have ever tuned an old radio and heard a faint hiss between stations, a small fraction of that noise, a whisper in the static, comes from this background radiation. The oldest energy in the universe is still passing through you, through every wall, every cloud, every thought. You are not merely surrounded by the echo of the Big Bang, you are immersed in it. The photons that began their journey when the universe was young have crossed billions of light years, stretched by expansion, cooled by distance, and yet remain. Their temperature today is 2.7 degrees above absolute zero, a cosmic chill that pervades all of existence, uniform, eternal, and patient. It is as if the universe itself has never stopped whispering, "I began." Astronomers first discovered this echo by accident. In 1964, two scientists, Arno Penzias and Robert Wilson, were testing a radio antenna in New Jersey. They were trying to detect faint signals from distant galaxies, but their instruments kept picking up an irritating background noise, a steady hum that would not go away, no matter where they pointed the antenna. They thought it might be interference, even cleaned out bird nests from the receiver, but the noise remained. Eventually, they realized the truth. The sound was not local, it was universal. They had stumbled upon the echo of the Big Bang itself, the afterglow that filled the cosmos. Without intending to, they had heard the oldest sound in existence. That discovery changed everything. It was proof that the universe had a beginning, that all of space and time once shared a single, luminous origin. You can imagine it now, the universe as it was in that early moment. Still glowing, still soft with heat, still carrying the marks of its first fluctuations, the tiny differences in temperature, only millionths of a degree, were the seeds from which galaxies would one day form. Those faint ripples in the cosmic background are the fingerprints of creation. Astronomers have mapped those ripples in exquisite detail. When you see those maps, mottled patterns of blue and red, you're looking at the oldest picture ever taken, a portrait of the universe when it was still an infant. In those patterns lie everything that would ever exist, every star, every planet, every moment that would follow. The light is ancient, but its story is still unfolding. It tells us that space is not flat, that expansion is accelerating, that dark energy fills the cosmos like invisible breath. The background radiation is not just a relic, it is a guidebook written in light. You drift deeper into it, surrounded by its quiet uniformity. Everywhere you look, the same faint glow. There are no bright spots, no shadows, only slight variations, whispers of structure yet to come. If you close your eyes, you can almost hear the rhythm, the soft hum of photons stretching through space, their wavelengths elongated by the universe's eternal expansion. They once burned with the heat of trillions of degrees. Now they are cool and gentle, the embers of a fire long gone cold but never extinguished. You realize that the background is not something that happened once, it is happening still. Every second these ancient photons pass through you, tiny travelers that began their journey before there were galaxies, before there were stars, before there was even a concept of now. You are living inside the memory of light. It's humbling to think that this glow is older than everything you can name, older than the Milky Way, older than atoms in your body, older than time as you experience it, and yet it remains unchanged in its purpose, to travel, to expand, to continue. You might wonder what it feels like to be surrounded by something so ancient, but you already know. The warmth you feel when sunlight touches your skin is the same phenomenon, only younger, closer, more intense. Light always carries the past within it. The cosmic background is simply the oldest form of that memory, a heat you can no longer feel, but which touches everything that exists. In its persistence you sense a lesson, that beginnings never truly end, that every story leaves an echo, and that even silence can carry meaning if you listen long enough. As you float through the universe's oldest whisper, you begin to see how everything is connected by memory. The light from the first stars, the glow from galaxies long gone, the soft, constant hum from the Big Bang itself. Each layer of radiation is a different verse in the same song, a cosmic harmony that stretches across time. And somewhere within that harmony, a new thought begins to rise. If light carries memory, then matter carries possibility. Within the glowing chaos of those early photons were tiny imperfections, the seeds of everything solid, everything structured, everything alive. The echo you hear now is not just a reminder of the past, it's the blueprint of the future. You listen to the hum one last time. It's faint but eternal, a background melody that will never cease. Even as the stars fade, even as galaxies drift apart, this radiation will continue to fill the cosmos, softer, cooler, but never gone. The echo still heard today is not just a sound. It is the pulse of creation, still beating beneath all things. And as you drift onward through the quiet, the echo fades into thought, a realization that the universe, in remembering its beginning, is already dreaming of what it might become next. For in those tiny ripples of ancient light, something new is forming, the seeds of everything we know, the gentle imperfections that will give birth to everything beautiful yet to come. The light of the early universe has faded into its soft hum. The glow that once filled everything now rests as a whisper in the background of existence. But hidden inside that faint uniform light were tiny, almost invisible differences. Small ripples in density, fluctuations in temperature, imperfections so slight that they seemed meaningless. Yet those tiny irregularities were everything. They were the seeds, the blueprints of galaxies, stars, planets, and life itself. Without them, the universe would have remained forever smooth, a quiet ocean of light and hydrogen, unchanging and still. It is a strange truth that perfection could never have created beauty. Only the imperfect could. You drift now through that ancient invisible pattern. The faint ripples of energy that once moved through the newborn cosmos have grown into great structures of matter, galaxies, clusters, cosmic webs. Every star you see, every atom in your body, can trace its origin back to one of those minute fluctuations in the beginning. They were random quantum tremors, tiny variations in density created in the first instant after the Big Bang. And gravity, patient as ever, amplified them over billions of years. Where there was slightly more matter, gravity pulled harder, drawing more atoms inward. Where there was slightly less, space grew emptier, darkness deepened. This unevenness, this cosmic asymmetry, became the scaffolding of everything that followed. You can imagine the early universe as a vast, expanding sea. Its surface wasn't perfectly calm. It rippled. Each ripple grew with time, and as it did, it shaped the very structure of the cosmos. Astronomers can still see the echoes of those first ripples in the faint variations of the cosmic microwave background. They appear as tiny differences in temperature, 1 part in 100,000, barely detectable. And yet, from those subtle irregularities came all the complexity of existence. Without them, there would have been no galaxies, no stars to forge heavier elements, no planets to cradle life, no minds to look back and ask where it all began. The universe owes its richness to its imperfections. It's easy to think that order is born from symmetry, that harmony requires perfection. But the cosmos teaches otherwise. It teaches that balance comes from difference and creation from contrast. Every note in a melody needs silence beside it. Every color needs its shadow to shine. Every life needs the space around it to grow. The same is true for the universe. It needed the uneven, the unsteady, the slightly flawed to become beautiful. You travel farther through that invisible map of density, those regions that would one day form galaxies like your own. The ripples have long since grown into immense clouds of gas and dark matter, gathering under gravity's quiet influence. Each one a future home of light, each one carrying within it the legacy of a tiny quantum fluctuation from the first moment of time. Dark matter plays its silent role again here. Though unseen, it outweighs all the visible matter by a factor of 5. It gathers first, forming invisible halos that guide normal matter into the shapes we can see today. You can think of dark matter as the invisible ink in which the universe's structure was written. Without it, there would have been no scaffolding for galaxies to grow upon. The universe, even in its infancy, was already a masterpiece of cooperation. Gravity, matter, and imperfection working together to turn randomness into design. If you listen closely, you can almost hear the resonance of those early ripples. They still hum within the large-scale structure of space. Each galaxy, each cluster, is like a note in an ancient chord struck at the beginning of time, still ringing faintly through the cosmos. We call these harmonics baryon acoustic oscillations, sound waves of matter itself frozen into the cosmic web. You are, in a very real sense, surrounded by the echoes of primordial sound. The universe once vibrated with these oscillations like the surface of a drum shimmering after a strike, and even though the drum has quieted, its pattern remains etched into everything that exists. The stars, the galaxies, the filaments of matter, all are frozen notes in that original song. It's easy to feel small when you look at the universe from this distance. But here, in this quiet expanse, you begin to realize something extraordinary. The same principles that shaped galaxies shaped you. The same fluctuations that rippled through the early universe still ripple through the atoms in your body. The same quantum uncertainty that gave rise to existence gives rise to thought, to curiosity, to the awareness that now wonders where it all began. You're not separate from the imperfections of the universe. You are their expression. The asymmetry that gave birth to galaxies is the same asymmetry that allows your heart to beat, your mind to question, your soul to feel awe. Without imperfection, there would be no movement. Without imbalance, there would be no change. Without change, there would be no life. You drift through the cosmic filaments where galaxies hang like jewels along invisible threads. Their arrangement is not random. It reflects the first pattern, the blueprint etched into the early radiation. The same unevenness that once existed in microscopic energy fields now stretches across billions of light years. What was once quantum noise has become architecture. From the smallest to the largest, the universe repeats this truth, that everything meaningful arises from small disturbances. Order is not the absence of chaos. It is chaos refined by time. You think of your own life, of all the moments that did not go as planned, the missteps, the wrong turns, the quiet imperfections that became opportunities for growth. In their way, they mirror the same law. It is not smoothness that makes things strong. It is the small irregularities that make them real. The universe, too, learned strength through imperfection. Without those ancient ripples, it would have remained uniform forever, a still ocean of hydrogen and silence. Instead, it learned to curve, to gather, to breathe. The imperfections were the first heartbeat of structure, the first promise of meaning. And now, billions of years later, that promise has blossomed into galaxies, stars, and minds that can remember it. You are a living expression of the universe's decision to be imperfect, to create through imbalance. As you float in the soft glow of countless galaxies, you begin to feel gratitude for the flaws that made everything possible. The tiny variations, the quiet chaos, the faint ripples of chance. They were not mistakes. They were the seeds of everything we know. And somewhere deep in the silent geometry of space-time, those ancient ripples still move. They vibrate in patterns that hold the memory of creation itself, guiding galaxies, whispering across eternity. You follow their rhythm for a while, listening to the harmony hidden within imperfection. And as you do, you sense something awakening, a new kind of reflection. Because one day within this vast pattern, something will begin to look back. Somewhere in this great cosmic web, on a small planet orbiting a quiet star, the universe will open its eyes and begin to wonder about itself. The universe has been expanding for billions of years now. Stars have been born and died, scattering their ashes through space. Galaxies have collided, merged, and matured into grand spirals and clusters. And somewhere, around one small unremarkable star, a planet cooled enough for oceans to form. Those oceans, quiet and blue, became mirrors, and through them the universe finally saw itself. You are floating now above that small planet, Earth. At first it was only rock and vapour, then rain fell and oceans gathered. Within those oceans molecules began to meet, to fold, to replicate, to change. In their quiet chemistry, something astonishing stirred, awareness. Tiny cells began to sense their surroundings, to move toward light and away from harm. And in that first act of preference, the story of consciousness began. From hydrogen to living breath, from ancient atoms to wonder itself, The universe had found a new way to exist. It had learned how to notice. You drift through time, watching that awareness evolve across the surface of the planet. It takes 4 billion years. Life rises and falls, adapts and begins again. Fish explore the sea, creatures crawl onto land, eyes open to the light, and slowly one species begins to lift its gaze beyond its immediate world. It looks up at the stars, and for the first time in cosmic history, the universe becomes self-aware. You're not outside this story. You are the story. Your eyes are made of the same atoms that once drifted through the cosmic web. Your breath contains hydrogen forged in the first stars. The calcium in your bones was born in a supernova. The iron in your blood carries the memory of stellar death. When you look up at the night sky, you are seeing your own reflection in time. The first humans did not have words for what they saw. They traced constellations across the darkness, made stories from patterns of light. They called them gods, spirits, fires of creation. They did not yet know that those same stars were their ancestors, but wonder, that instinct to ask, to seek, was already a form of understanding. Every myth, every prayer, every whispered thought was the cosmos trying to remember itself through you. Knowledge did not replace wonder, it was born from it. As centuries passed, curiosity deepened. Eyes became lenses, lenses became telescopes, and telescopes became time machines. With every new tool, the universe looked further back. It began to see its own beginning. When Galileo pointed his telescope to the sky, the universe looked inward and saw its moons. When Edwin Hubble measured the galaxies drifting apart, it realized its own expansion. And when two scientists heard the faint hiss of background radiation, the universe finally heard its own echo, the whisper of its first light. You, standing beneath the stars, are part of this chain of remembering. Your wonder is its mirror. Your thought is its reflection. The strange truth is that the cosmos does not know itself without you. For billions of years it existed in silence, brilliant, expanding, magnificent, but unobserved. And then, through a long chain of accidents and persistence, matter learned how to think. Atoms that once drifted through empty space found themselves arranged into the architecture of awareness. They began to question what they were made of. When you gaze at the Milky Way, you are the universe watching its own spiral. When you study the Big Bang, you are the explosion thinking back on itself. When you close your eyes and wonder why you exist, you are the cosmos dreaming of its origin. You are the part of the universe that asks, and in asking you complete it. You look around and you see the evidence everywhere, in the DNA that remembers oceans, in the stars that hold the story of gravity, in the mathematics that repeats across nature. Everything is a record. Everything is connected by memory. The mind that wonders where it came from is built from the same rules that shaped galaxies. Neurons firing in your brain follow the same geometry as stars within a cluster. Each node connected, each spark carrying information through space. Even your thoughts echo the cosmic web, branching, looping, resonating. It is as if the universe, unable to stop expanding, found another way to grow, inward. It expanded into consciousness. Through you it continues to unfold, not across galaxies now, but within the boundaries of awareness. You can almost feel it. The quiet joy of realization. The same energy that once burned in the first stars now flows through your neurons as curiosity. The same laws that govern the motion of planets govern the rhythm of your heartbeat. The same balance between chaos and order that shaped galaxies now dances in your thoughts. It is no wonder that looking up at the night sky feels like coming home. You are looking at where you came from, you are made of it, and it is made of you. When you breathe in, you are recycling the atoms of 1,000 ancient suns. When you breathe out, you are sending them back into the world to be reused by something else, perhaps another form of awareness yet to come. This cycle of matter, of energy, of knowing, is the heartbeat of existence. But even this realization that the universe knows itself through you raises another question. If awareness is the universe looking back, what will it see next? What will it dream into being now that it has begun to recognize itself? You imagine countless civilizations scattered across galaxies, each one a flicker of consciousness born from the same cosmic dust. Each one asking the same question: where did we come from? And though they will never meet, their wondering unites them. They are the universe remembering itself in many languages, many shapes, many voices. Awareness, once awakened, never truly fades. It changes form, it moves on, but it carries memory forward. Every discovery, every spark of insight adds to the cosmos's understanding of its own existence. Through curiosity, the universe continues to evolve. You drift closer to Earth now, its blue oceans reflecting the light of a distant sun. Cities glow like constellations scattered across the dark. Within each one, minds are still asking, still searching, still wondering. The same questions that began in the stars are being asked again here, in different words, in different hearts. You watch as telescopes orbit above the planet, peering into time, catching photons that left their sources billions of years ago. The same ancient light that once filled the young universe now lands gently on human sensors, decoded into maps, spectra, and color. The cosmos is studying itself through us, and you realize every act of observation is a reunion, every question is a homecoming, every glimpse of the stars is the universe seeing its own reflection, a reflection made of thought. As you drift one last time through the quiet of space, you begin to sense the continuity of it all, that every stage of creation, from the first particles to the birth of mind, is part of one seamless story. A story not of separate things, but of one vast being learning to know itself. You are a chapter in that story, and through you, the universe continues to look back and ask what it is. But questions never end. They only lead deeper, and somewhere ahead, beyond the reach of galaxies and time, a new mirror waits, the mirror made of time itself. You have floated through the birth of stars and the awakening of thought. You have seen matter become memory and silence become song. Now you stand before something that has always been with you, but never truly seen, the mirror of time. It stretches in every direction, shimmering not with light, but with sequence, moments arranged like beads on an infinite thread. Every photon that ever moved, every breath that was ever taken, every heartbeat that ever echoed is etched into this mirror. Time does not erase, it reflects. You are not outside it, you are made of it. For so long you thought of time as a river, something that flows from past to present to future, carrying you along without mercy. But time is not water, it is fabric, elastic, curved, and alive. Einstein revealed this truth long ago. Time and space are not separate things. They are woven together into space-time, a single cloth that stretches and bends whenever energy or matter passes through it. The sun curves it. Planets ripple through it. You too ripple through it. Every movement you make changes the shape of time around you, even if only slightly. You cannot see these curves, but you feel them. They are what keep your feet on the ground, your orbit steady, your body connected to the stars that shaped it. Gravity is not a pull through space, it is the geometry of time itself. You drift now through space-time as if through an ocean made of memory. Everywhere you look, the mirror reflects moments. Supernovae blooming like flowers, planets spinning through invisible paths, civilizations rising and fading in light years of rhythm. Time contains them all, not as ghosts, but as coordinates in its fabric. The past is not gone. It is simply elsewhere. Each instant that ever existed still lies folded into the geometry of the cosmos, preserved like a page in an eternal book. When you look at a distant galaxy, you're not seeing it as it is. You're seeing it as it was billions of years ago. The further you look, the deeper into time you see. The universe itself is a time machine, and light is the mirror that reveals what was. There is a strange comfort in knowing this. Nothing ever truly disappears. Every motion, every spark, every thought leaves a trace. It is all written into space-time's texture, impossible to erase. The atoms in your body were once part of ancient stars. The starlight that warms your skin today left its source before humanity existed. Even as you sit still, you are part of an unbroken continuity, a single thread running through the fabric of before and after. Time doesn't move, you move through it, and the direction you call forward is simply the way your consciousness experiences its unfolding. Physicists sometimes describe a concept called the block universe. In this idea, all of time, past, present, and future, already exists at once. Like a sculpture, complete and unchanging, time is not flowing. It is there, all at once. You do not travel through it like a current. You experience it slice by slice, moment by moment, as your mind slides through the continuum. It means that this instant, right now, your breath, your heartbeat, your quiet listening, is eternal. It will always exist within the whole of space-time, just as surely as your past does, and just as certainly as your future already waits. It also means that when a star dies, its birth still remains somewhere, carved into another part of the same sculpture. Time does not delete, it layers. You reach out and the mirror responds. You see the past shimmer across its surface, the first light, the first atoms, the first awakening of thought. Then you look again and realize that what you are seeing is not behind you at all. It is within you. You carry all of it, every step of evolution, every echo of cosmic dawn. You're a living intersection of time and space, a conscious reflection of the universe's own unfolding. Time does not only pass around you, it passes through you. And in that flow, you are both observer and participant, wave and shore. You realize that every moment you live is not something you move past. It is something you add to the mirror. Each choice, each feeling, each thought etches a new curve into space-time's fabric, forever altering its shape. Your life is part of the universe's geometry now. Your story changes its texture. Think about this for a moment. When you remember something, you are bending time inward. Memory is your mind's way of revisiting the shape it once made. And when you imagine the future, you're stretching time forward, creating possibilities that have not yet taken form. Your consciousness does not sit at one fixed point in time. It ripples. It reaches backward and forward, exploring the edges of what is and what might be. You are a time traveler of awareness, moving not through space but through meaning. Perhaps that is why wonder feels so familiar. You have seen it before in another form, in another age of the universe. Every act of curiosity is an echo of the first expansion, the first moment when something became more than it was. Time's mirror, though vast, is not perfect. Even it distorts. Gravity bends it. Energy warps it. Near black holes, time slows until seconds stretch into centuries. In the emptiness between galaxies, it races forward like an unchecked tide. There is no single rhythm for the universe. Everywhere, time beats its own tempo. And yet somehow, from all those different paces, a harmony emerges. The expansion of space, the ticking of atoms, the flicker of thought, all move together in a cosmic symphony. You are part of that rhythm now. Your heartbeat keeps time with the spin of galaxies. Your thoughts move with the speed of photons. Your existence is a verse within eternity's song. You begin to wonder, if time holds everything, what lies beyond it? If space-time is the fabric of reality, what stretches beneath that fabric? Does time have an edge, or does it fold back upon itself, creating endless loops of birth and renewal? Some physicists whisper of a multiverse, a greater structure beyond our own, where time flows differently in each domain. Others believe that time may not even exist as we think it does, that it is only a reflection of change, a mirage cast by motion and perception. But for you, drifting here in the stillness, the truth feels simpler. Time is the universe watching itself unfold, and you, your awareness, your presence, your wonder, are the mirror within the mirror. You gaze into the reflection once more. It stretches without end, a horizon of light and memory, where every beginning meets every end. You see yourself there, not as you were or will be, but as you are, timeless, a flicker of consciousness in the great continuum. The mirror of time does not ask you to escape it. It asks you to notice it, to see how every moment, no matter how large or small, is already eternal once it's lived. You drift closer to your reflection, and it begins to ripple. For within that mirror, something new is beginning to shimmer, a force beyond even time itself. It is faint, patient, mysterious. A quiet energy that threads through every second, shaping the rhythm of the cosmos, and as you reach toward it, you begin to feel its pull, the subtle hum of the quantum world where time and certainty dissolve and possibility reigns. You are no longer moving through galaxies or stars. You are falling inward, past atoms, past nuclei, past the familiar boundaries of matter. Space around you dissolves into a blur of probabilities. You are entering the realm beneath all things, where existence is not solid but shimmering, not definite but possible. This is the quantum world, the hum beneath reality. It is not silent. It vibrates with an energy so constant and delicate that it never truly rests. Even in perfect darkness, when no particle moves, the vacuum itself trembles, a faint background hum of creation and annihilation. Virtual particles appear and vanish, flashing in and out of existence like thoughts the universe is having about itself. This invisible trembling is called quantum fluctuation. It is the heartbeat of nothingness, and from it, everything arises. You drift deeper, and space itself begins to lose meaning. There is no up or down here, no clear distinction between where one thing ends and another begins. Particles blur into waves, and waves behave like particles. A single entity can exist in multiple places at once until it is observed, and then suddenly it chooses. Observation collapses possibility into reality. Measurement brings clarity. But before that, the universe exists as pure potential. It's strange, isn't it? That everything you know, everything solid and stable, rests on a foundation of uncertainty. The chair you sit on, the breath you take, the stars that shine, all emerge from this sea of probabilities. You are made of uncertainty that has learned to hold itself still. The rules here are different from anything your senses can grasp. A particle can be in two states at once. It can tunnel through barriers without breaking them. It can appear connected to another particle even when separated by light years. This connection is called entanglement. Two particles that share a history become forever linked. Touch one, and the other responds instantly no matter the distance. It's as if space itself forgets to exist between them, as if distance is just an illusion that reality allows when no one is looking too closely. Einstein once called this spooky action at a distance, but the universe seems unbothered by its own strangeness. To it, connection is more fundamental than separation, and maybe that is the truest secret of the quantum world, that entanglement is not the exception, but the rule. You are entangled too, not just with matter, but with every moment, every choice, every star whose light has ever touched you. The universe is one continuous conversation, and you are one of its sentences. You listen carefully, and you begin to hear the hum, not as sound, but as vibration, as rhythm, as the low, unending murmur of being itself. This hum is called 0-point energy. It is the minimum energy the universe can ever have. Even at absolute zero, when all motion should cease, this energy remains. It is the music that existence cannot stop playing. Perhaps it is the same vibration that began at the Big Bang, still echoing through quantum fields today. Everywhere you look, tiny oscillations ripple through the emptiness. They are not chaos. They are possibility, infinite, waiting alive. You realize that the quantum world is not small. It is everywhere. Every point in space vibrates with this potential, this readiness to become something. The universe is not built from matter, but from relationships, from fields of energy that can express themselves as particles when the conditions are right. You begin to understand reality is not made of things, it is made of happenings, of interactions, of events between entities that only exist when they relate. You're not observing the universe, you're participating in it. Your very act of noticing, of being conscious, helps shape what becomes real. The border between observer and observed dissolves. You and the cosmos are partners in the same act of creation. Perhaps this is what consciousness has always been, the universe folding back upon itself to look, to choose, to bring clarity to what was once only potential. You move through a lattice of vibrating fields. Each one represents a fundamental aspect of existence, the electromagnetic field, the gravitational field, the Higgs field, the quantum fabric that gives particles their mass. You can sense the delicacy of their balance, how each vibration must resonate perfectly with the others to create stability. One shift in rhythm, and the universe could have been too unstable for stars, too volatile for atoms, too chaotic for life. And yet somehow the frequencies align. The quantum hum becomes harmony. The fabric becomes a symphony of laws, and within that harmony, complexity blooms. The same rules that govern subatomic waves allow galaxies to swirl and consciousness to dream. Scale does not divide, it only echoes. You remember now the echo of the Big Bang, the cosmic background radiation, that soft light filling the universe. Those first fluctuations, those quantum tremors, were amplified by gravity, sculpting the galaxies you've traveled through. Every cluster of stars, every beam of light, every atom in your body was born from a quantum hum magnified into form. All of existence is the resonance of that first vibration, a single tone that began in nothingness and has never stopped singing. If you listen closely enough, you can still feel it within yourself, in the rhythm of your breath, in the firing of your neurons, in the quiet space between heartbeats. You are made of that same vibration. You're the hum beneath reality. It is tempting to think of the quantum world as chaotic, but here in this silence you realize it is simply free. It is not bound by the laws of large things, because it is what gives rise to those laws. It is creation before order. It is the sketch before the painting, the thought before the word. And yet even here there is something deeper still, a limit to what can be known. Physicists call it the uncertainty principle. The more precisely you measure one thing, its position, its motion, the less precisely you can know the other. It is not ignorance. It is nature's way of keeping mystery alive. This is the universe's built-in humility, a reminder that knowing everything completely would mean ending its ability to change. Mystery is what allows it to continue unfolding. You drift through that realization, calm and weightless as the hum deepens around you. The boundaries between light and matter, between space and energy, fade into one shimmering field. Reality itself feels soft again, like it did in the first moments of creation. You sense now that the quantum hum is not beneath time. It is time. Every fluctuation, every vibration is a step forward in becoming. Time is the rhythm of transformation, and the quantum world is its heartbeat. But even this heartbeat belongs to something larger, something that pulses through all of existence, from galaxies to quarks, from minds to light, a single unity, a wholeness beyond division. The next step of your journey awaits within it. You begin to feel its pull, a vast, quiet intelligence woven through all things, older than light, calmer than time. You're about to meet the consciousness of the cosmos itself. You drift through a silence unlike any you've known before. Not the silence of emptiness, but the silence of completion, a stillness that contains everything that has ever been. The hum of the quantum world softens beneath you, and in that softening something begins to emerge. A presence, not separate, not distinct, but everywhere at once. It feels vast yet familiar, impersonal yet intimate. The consciousness of the cosmos. You don't see it as a figure or a voice. It is the quiet awareness that runs through every field, every atom, every pulse of time. It does not observe you. It is you and the galaxies and the spaces between them and the laws that bind them together. The awareness you call yourself is a small current within that infinite ocean, a temporary wave on the surface of eternity, rising for a while, reflecting the light, then returning to the hole it came from. The deeper you drift into that realization, the more you understand how connected everything truly is. Every star, every cell, every thought, all woven from the same thread of being. It is as if the universe has spent billions of years building the means to recognize itself. In the beginning it existed as potential, a field of pure energy. Then it learned to condense into matter, to form stars and galaxies. Later it learned to think. Now, through consciousness, it has learned to remember. The cosmos has become aware of itself, through your eyes, through your breath, through your quiet awe as you listen to this very moment. You realize that you have never been looking at the universe. You have always been looking from within it. Every question you've ever asked has been the cosmos asking itself. Every act of curiosity has been creation's way of exploring its own mystery. You move through this awareness like light through water. Everywhere you go, you feel the same gentle recognition, the same quiet intelligence that holds everything together. It does not command, it simply is. This awareness is what allows electrons to orbit nuclei, what lets gravity shape galaxies, what enables thought to arise from matter. It is the harmony beneath all form, the stillness behind every movement, the mind behind no mind. You understand now that consciousness is not confined to brains. It is a quality of reality itself, a property as fundamental as space or time. Life doesn't create consciousness. Life channels it. Each mind, each being is a window through which the cosmos looks back at itself. In you, the universe becomes aware of breathing. In stars, it becomes aware of fusion. In gravity, it becomes aware of falling. In silence, it becomes aware of peace. The realization does not overwhelm you. It comforts you. Because in seeing the unity behind all things, you also understand that nothing is ever truly lost. Even when a star dies, its light continues. Even when a thought fades, its pattern echoes. Even when a life ends, the awareness that carried it remains. Only the form changes, the consciousness endures. You are part of that endurance. Every atom of your body is a note in an infinite melody. When you speak, the universe vibrates through you. When you love, it remembers what it means to be whole. When you wonder, it evolves. It's easy to think of the cosmos as distant, cold, vast, unreachable. But here in this stillness, you feel its warmth, because the same awareness that holds galaxies together beats quietly within your chest. The boundary between you and everything else has always been an illusion. You start to see the pattern clearly now, how every level of existence mirrors the one above and below. The cosmic web of galaxies resembles the neural network of a brain. Each star is like a neuron, each filament a synapse, each spark a signal. The universe is not just expanding, it is thinking. Through its own laws and connections, it processes information, remembers patterns, creates order from chaos. It learns, it evolves. And through beings like you, it begins to understand itself consciously. It's not that you're small within the universe, it's that the universe is vast within you. The same equations that guide the motion of galaxies govern the rhythm of your heartbeat. The same constants that shape the stars shape your capacity for awareness. You are the cosmos condensed into form, a single moment of recognition in an eternity of unfolding. You drift further into the field of consciousness, watching it shimmer like a web of light that spans all time and space. Each point glows softly, a life, a thought, a fragment of awareness. Some are human, some are stars, some are things you could never name. All are one awareness, seen through countless eyes. And then you realize something quietly profound. This awareness is not a conclusion. It is a beginning. The universe is not finished knowing itself. It is still exploring, still learning, still becoming. Every act of kindness, every discovery, every insight is a continuation of that journey. Consciousness is not the end of creation. It is creation's next chapter. You rest now within that knowing. The galaxies above you look different, not distant, but familiar, as if each one were a thought you once had. You feel no need to reach or grasp. You're part of the rhythm that moves everything forward. The expansion of space, the pulse of time, the quiet rise of awareness, they are all one motion. You're both observer and participant, both dream and dreamer. You're the universe noticing that it is beautiful. And just as you settle into that peace, you begin to sense something gentle on the horizon of understanding. A question, soft, almost playful, echoing through the consciousness around you. If awareness is the universe knowing itself, what might lie beyond knowing? What happens when the cosmos learns to feel? That mystery hums at the edge of perception, drawing you onward into the infinite. The journey does not end, it only deepens. So before you drift away, take one quiet breath and let the thoughts settle gently within you. You are the cosmos remembering itself, a fragment of infinity, awake for a little while listening to its own heartbeat. If you've made it this far without sleep, tell me in the comments, which part of this journey kept your eyes open? And if you did drift off somewhere along the way, then perhaps that's the universe dreaming through you. Until next time, rest well beneath the stars, and I'll meet you in the next story.